Scott, episode 3, and I thought I'd make it more practical this time. So, I've actually logged into Upwork as a freelancer, and I thought we can find ourselves some jobs and we can just complete them and maybe get paid. Probably not, though. They pay absolute peanuts. Most people ask for Python scrapers for like $5. It's like, come on, man. But anyway, people do it. All right, what do we got? Scrape data from 200 websites to add to Google Sheets. Oh. This is a straightforward data mining project every time. It's just a straightforward, it's a very simple project. I just need to go to 200 different websites, but maybe they've got them all listed. We are looking to scrape data from 200 property websites and add data into Google Sheets in a specific format. And they're paying an hourly rate. The data and formatting of each site is most likely different, so it may require manual scraping. Okay, so it's a simple job, but it requires manual scraping of 200 different formats. Yeah, we're not even going to bother touching that one. Let's not even do that. Hi, I'm looking for someone who is capable of gathering a minimum 100 questions. Okay, maybe we should put a search in here. Why don't we do scraper? You know, get some data off the internet. People love that. People love getting the data off the internet. Okay, let's have a look. We're looking for an experienced web scraper who is able to scrape images, details, and specs of cars from a dealership website and upload it onto our WordPress website with high accuracy. Of course, it's going to be accurate. It's straight from there. Okay, cool. Let's have a look. Please provide estimate time of scraping 25 cars from the information from Porsche Vancouver website. Okay. Looking for an expert. That's us. We can do that. They need to hire 2 freelancers. And they need to upload it to WordPress. So all very straightforward stuff. Let's get down to work. So, kick things off. What we're going to do is we'll open up a fresh little window here. We'll put this one in. Oh, that's not even a web address. Fail. Okay, so put it in here. Porsche Vancouver, Canada. Okay, it's a Porsche Center, and they want to basically scrape all these cars, and I'm guessing all the details. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to approach this. One would be to just have a look at the front of the page, so the front of the website, and just scrape the data. The other way is actually to have a look at the network traffic. So let me go ahead and where are we? Looking at my keyboard, not at the camera. Okay, let's go ahead and press. We're in Google Chrome. We're going to press F12. We're going to go to network. And what this is actually here is our kind of developer console, and this is actually looking at all the network sort of traffic. So if I look at all, this is just filters across the bottom here. It's just collecting some information. So when I first hit the website, what we'll do is we'll clear this and we'll hit the website again. Okay, why don't we do the refresh? Okay, so the very first, wow, look at all that traffic. It's a lot of stuff. And the type of network traffic we're actually interested in is XHR. Which is typically an API call, sometimes referred to as AJAX. Not entirely, across all the different terms for internet stuff, but you can see here's the Twitter thing going on, and there's some data there. But ultimately, if I start clicking around, let's have a look. So let's select this Boxster. Clearly, I'm not a Porsche person. How do I just click on stuff? Okay, I clicked on you. You're blanked out. Let's hit search. I've hit search. Nothing's really popping up, which isn't great. Holy moly, they're not cheap. They're 124,000 Canadian dollars. I don't even know how much a Canadian dollar is worth. But let's have a look at what's come back. So that's a Facebook thing. That's some settings. Here we go. Porsche Vancouver API, inventory, filters, PhD, data, make, Porsche, data equals 1. Okay. Data equals 1's an interesting one. I wonder if there's a data equals 2. Let's find out. Data equals 2. Let's have a look. I think that's sum 41. Data equals 1 and data still equals 1. Why am I so bad at this? All right, well, let's just have a look at the preview. Oh, this is nice. Oh, unused filters. Filters, I've used make. Okay, that's good to know. I'm not really getting a huge amount of goodness out of this, but let's just have a little look. I'm sure we can scrape all this data. It won't be very hard at all. So there's the dealership. Wow, they're so expensive. Okay, so what we're looking for is, say, for instance, there's a car here. We'll copy that. I accidentally clicked on it. Oopsie daisy. Actually, that could be useful. No, we don't want that. And let's just, okay, inventory page 1, inventory page 2. So this is page 1. That's good. So it's in the URL, which is nice. And what I'm really looking for is just having a look to see if this data comes through in a really structured format. What appears to be coming through is this get request to this filters endpoint, which is basically returning what filters you've applied. We've got some settings here, nothing's really coming out of that. We've got this bit of JS, bit of JavaScript, which is pretty hectic. I don't know if there's any data in there. But what I've done is I've copied and pasted a particular thing, like a car. So let's go ahead and do Control F and see if that can be filtered here. Okay, maybe it's not on this page anymore. That's all right. Let's have a look. So what we're looking for is, yeah, we'll go after a 2019 Porsche. See if that exists. Okay. As far as I could tell, there's not a huge amount of I guess API endpoint stuff. So we're going to have to go the harder route, which is using a web scraping package called BeautifulSoup. So let's go ahead and do that. So we've got this page, which is kind of nice. What we might do is we might just actually go back into our F12. I might refresh this. And what we're going to do is actually look at the very, very first call that we made and look at some of the details. So it's a get request on the page, which is good. Quick bit of background. You typically always have headers. Headers include important information like the encoding, the language, and a bunch of other stuff like cookies, potentially, like usually, and the most important one for us is our user agent, which is here, which basically tells us, hey, we're a browser, we're a person, but we're not. We're going to be scraping this website. What I do is I usually go copy, and I go copy as curl, and then I use this neat little website which converts a curl request, which looks like the one on the left, to a very nicely formatted Python request, which is a really cool feature, and I'll include a link in the description. So let's go ahead and let's actually start up a new document. Alrighty, so we'll give this one a name. So Porsche scraper makes sense to me, and obviously we'll have our guy here, which is giving up the goods, which is going to be this one. Woo, that's a big one. All right, so what are we actually seeing here? So we've got a whole bunch of cookies. I'm actually not going to worry about them for now. They might be really important, and the website might block us if we don't use them. But in here we've got connection. Yep, that's all good. Page equals 1. That's beautiful because we can iterate. Go page 2, 3, 4, etc. Headers equals headers. Params equals params. There's the parameters. This can also be included in the URL, and sometimes it's actually better too because it's a bit weirdly formatted. We're not using the cookies. Get rid of them, and we'll just get rid of this little thing here. Shift enter. So import request. We're calling a header. Boom, boom, boom. Quick bit of fun fact about the request package. It's actually based on your URL lib, the library for basically opening websites. Requests, I don't believe it actually is included in Python, but it's the go-to. Like everyone uses it. It's what you're going to be using. So let's go ahead and look at the response number 200. That's good. Website returned. And then what we're also looking at is, yeah, give me some of that. Give me what's inside the response. Let's have a look. So we'll look at the text, and this is just going to be, we'll call that one HTML. And it's a string object, not callable. Silly me. It's a attribute, not a method. So we've got this HTML, and what we probably want to do, we want to clean this up a little bit. So we'll add another cell here. We'll go up here. We'll put the requests there. Don't want them there anymore. That way we don't have to rerun this thing. Request, and we're also gonna there's a package called BS4, which is basically and inside there's a class called BeautifulSoup. I think that's how it's structured. But BeautifulSoup. So from BS4, import BeautifulSoup. This is your first intro to BeautifulSoup. You don't need to know too much about it. All it means is you'll be able to get that structured data from a website and then start generating some CSVs. So where are we? So we've got the request. We've got the BeautifulSoup. Next, we're going to create a soup, which is pretty much parsing the HTML into the BeautifulSoup kind of structure, which is really neat. So it allows us to sort of traverse through the actual web page as if it was sort of data points, very similar to a dictionary in Python. So let's go ahead and do that now. So what we're going to say is we'll call it, here I just call it soup, but give it a name of soup. And the soup is going to equal, let's think about this for a second, B-E-A, beautiful soup. And it's going to be our HTML. But we do need to actually define a parser. Now, there's a few to choose from. I usually just default to the HTML parser, but you can look up the different ones that you can use. If you're trying to interrogate XML data, you might want to use the XML parser, I think it's called, or I don't know. Anyway, I use that one, and that's the thing about Python. There is probably in excess of any given time, multiple 10 different ways of doing something, and one way has its pros and cons and etc. and might not always work in every scenario, but a lot of people, once they find the way they're comfortable with, you'll find they'll just keep using that way. So if you're a person that's sort of grown up on URL lib and you use that to get websites, you're probably going to keep using that. I've kind of learnt requests. I started learning Python just a year or two ago, and requests is where I landed, and that's just what I love using. Same with BeautifulSoup. HTML parse is what I use. So what do we have? We have soup. So soup is really cool. So BeautifulSoup, now we have this document parse. So things like title, you can just say dot title. There it is. You got the title, but you actually kind of want the data inside the title. So you actually want the text. So now you got the text, and you got a bit of a space there. So you might want to say dot text or strip, and there you go. So you got the title. So that's just an example of how easy BeautifulSoup is to sort of navigate through a website. But you're probably thinking, where to from now? Like, how do we actually get the data out? How do we sort of go through and get it? So the way I usually work is what I'd be interested in collecting is probably the image URL, anything that's inside that certified pre-owner, the year, make, model, and trim. Is interesting. So that looks like it's spaced out. So year, space, make, space, model, space, trim. So, actually no, probably we'll have to work on that. Color, for right now, we're just going to grab everything. Always grab the link, because the requester might say, hey, it's great that you've got kind of the initial detail, but now I want the next level down. I want to know the full synopsis, the full like bio of the car. And how I'll typically tackle this one is I'll start by right-clicking, going inspect, and again, we're in Google Chrome, and this data looks really nice. So there's a container here, so we'll bring this down and I'll talk you through what I'm actually seeing. So as I hover my mouse, Scott, you'll see here I've hovered over vehicle listing used. Okay, now that's interesting. Vehicle listing used. Now, are they all going to be vehicle used, or is there going to be examples where the div class is actually different? Which could very well be, but for now we'll go ahead and assume they're all that, and it's looking very structured. So what we're going to do is we've got all of these, and inside each of them we have all the details. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to go ahead and let me think about this for a second. So ultimately we want to iterate through each of these. So it's a div class vehicle in use. So let's show you how we would do that. So we'll go ahead and we'll give it a variable name, and we'll give it a variable name of listing. Okay, and it was a div class. So what we're going to do is we're going to go soup and dot find underscore all, and then an older version of BeautifulSoup it was find all without the underscore. I think a capital A, but find all is how it's written now. And we're going to go ahead and say div. And we're also going to say, we're going to put some little curlies there. And just as I was saying before, there is multiple ways to write this. Like I think there's about 3 or 4. Multiple ways to collect the data, whether you use the CSS sort of selectors or you use the div and the classes. It's purely up to you. Some people think things are more efficient. I'm of the belief, A, I just want the data. Can I get it? Tick. B, can I do it kind of fluently? Is it comfortable for me to do? Yep, tick. I'm not building production scrapers that need to run every 10 milliseconds. If it takes an extra 3 seconds, I don't really mind. And for the most part, I actually implement sleep into my scripts so I don't actually hit the website too many times. So what I'm doing here is I'm writing, okay, listing equals soup find all, div class vehicle listing used, which is what we found here. Div, that's an ID, that's good. And then div class vehicle instance used. Okay, great. So we'd run that, and what that's actually going to do, it's what they call a generator. So the data kind of goes off and it finds them all, and then you can't really just view it. You have to basically iterate over it with like a for loop or a list comprehension, which we'll learn about at some other point. So let's go ahead and run that, and let's try to get a feel. I'm expecting there to be, I think about 7 or 10. Okay, so 10 listings, that's good to know. So straight away I'm thinking, well, how do I crank that up to 50, right? I'd rather do one call for 50 listings than 10 calls, 5 calls at 10. So for now we'll leave that out. And what we're going to do next is we are going to look at just one listing, because later we'll do like 4 list in listing and go ahead and get all the data out and create a line of data for our output CSV. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say don't call it list, Adam, because that's a keyword. A listing equals listing. We'll go with the first one, and obviously being an iterator or whatever in Python, 0 is the beginning. So now we have a listing, which is this guy, which looks really cool. And we've got a bunch of cool stuff that we want to grab. So a couple of different ways to do this. You can create a variable for each. You can create a dictionary. It's purely up to you. I might just do listing dict. Now, I do that because it's kind of funny to write dict, but it's just silly. All right, listing dict. And we've got a listing, okay, and it's an empty dictionary. So a listing, and what we're going to try and do is first of all get that image, okay? So the image source is pretty much here. And I always kind of struggle with this, I'm not going to lie. So we've got a listing, and we've got an image. What happens if I just go .img? Is that going to work? Yeah, it does. Cool. So my understanding here, it will grab the very first one. Luckily, it is the first one in the list. .src, does that do something? No, made that up. What about this one? You can tell I don't use this enough. There we go. Boom. That was really easy. Okay, cool. So now we have the image listing. So what we might do here is we might go ahead and say image URL is equal to that. So what that actually looks like now is we start off with an empty dictionary, and we're creating a key in the dictionary called image URL, and we're making that equal a listing.image.source. And so what that ends up looking like is we have this beautiful image URL, and we can keep partying on. So we've done that part. What else is in our listing dictionary? Oh, not listing dictionary, sorry. What else is in our listing? Okay, so image, vehicle photo, good. Class vehicle used. I'm a bit nervous about that. We might need to do some fuzzy matching regular expression to take off the used part and just find it where it has the term vehicle listing. Next, we want to know a bit about the vehicle certification, and we want any text that is available in there. I'm going to skip that one for now, purely because there's no data, so it's going to be hard to validate. But when we do start to see some data come through, we're going to go back and sort of solve for that one. Vehicle listing. I thought it said yums. Y-M. Doesn't matter. Okay, vehicle listing link. Okay, great. So here's a URL to the link. So we've got a class vehicle listing link. Okay, so how would we tackle this one? Is there any other links in here? Let's just have a look and see what comes back. I think there is, but let's have a look. That's not going to work. So that's not going to work. Okay. Okay, so next we've got sort of the vehicle listing link. There's multiple ways to sort of obtain that. So ultimately we want the href. We probably also want the name. So we're gonna grab 2 bits out of this one call, which is going to be quite handy. So what we'll start with is basically we'll do a .find for a class vehicle listing link. So that's just going to be a case of doing .find. Okay, it's a same as before, curlies. It's a class. Okay, and the class is, I did paste it, yeah, nice, okay. Let's have a look here. Now I'm mixing up my singles and doubles, aren't I? Let's just go ahead and make them all single. Those ones are double, those ones are, oh, how annoying. Anyway, this isn't important, but Python does have the ability to use both, but it's just really poor practice to not. Oh. Okay, cool. So now that we've got this is really handy. What we can do is we can grab the sort of, we've got the A class vehicle listing link. So if we want the text from that, it would literally just be that. And we'll want to strip out the tabs. I think strip should do that. Let's get rid of that one guy there. Yeah, beautiful. So now we've got the sort of, listing title, and that's fine. We can work with that. But what we really need to begin with is this href here, right? So if I do a bit of a, what if I just do this guy and this guy and then boom, yeah, record. All right, cool. So we got the, now a good practice would be to sort of say, listing link title equals that, and then you would go ahead and you would create one for each. So you've got listing link title href, and you've got listing link title dot text dot strip, and then same as before, you'd want to create something for your listing dictionary. So that would look like listing underscore link, and that would be equal to the href, and then you might have listing underscore title, and that would actually be equal to that. So that's pretty neat. So why don't we go ahead and just run that, and let's have a look at our let's have a look at our dictionary now, which is image URL, listing link, listing title. Now I feel like this is enough to get you going. So I encourage you to jump in and have a play and see if you can actually work out the rest. And maybe in the follow-up episode, we'll call this one part 1, but in the follow-up episode, once we've built that ability to get all the data, we'll go ahead and we'll go through how to iterate through each page, and even how to put that into a really snappy CSV file and actually export the data. Okay, cool. Part 1 complete.